Far From Home was recently re-released in theaters for Columbia's 100th anniversary, so here are my thoughts on it. Hello everybody, my name is Jesse and welcome back to another video on my channel. Far From Home was re-released about a week ago in theaters for Columbia's 100th anniversary. So today I'm finally getting around to giving you my thoughts on this movie. Spider-Man Far From Home was never really one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. I enjoy it enough when I watch it. I think there's a lot to love in this movie for sure, and I don't think it's a bad Spider-Man movie by any means. I truly don't believe there is a bad. I don't think there's a single bad Spider-Man movie. But this one has definitely always ranked a little lower on the lists for me. And while it may not be my favorite, there's still a lot of positives to this movie, so let's get into that. I really like the way that this movie handles the kind of trauma that Peter's going through after Tony Stark's Iron Man's death in Avengers Endgame. I think this movie handles that really well and shows it really well, that Peter is still having trouble moving on after his death, and he's kind of starting to wonder how he's going to fill those shoes, and he feels the pressure from it all, and he just wants to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's not ready to take on that kind of responsibility yet, and I really like how they show that. I think it's definitely interesting to see Spider-Man in a different area other than New York. I've never been the biggest fan of that, honestly. Some people love it and some people don't. Good for you, I guess. I've never been one that's been super crazy about the idea of Peter going somewhere other than New York. I think it's definitely interesting that they changed it up like that, and it's different, and Peter being in an unknown area with people that he doesn't know and places he doesn't know, I think that definitely adds to the stakes. But especially with the Tobey Maguire movies and the TASM movies, they just made New York feel like it was such a big part of Spider-Man, and it is such a big part of Spider-Man, that it's just almost doesn't feel right to see Peter in a different place other than New York. Of course, I can't make this review without mentioning the villain, Mysterio. Mysterio is an incredible villain. One of my favorite live-action Spider-Man villains we've gotten in any of these movies. Jake Gyllenhaal absolutely has a blast playing the role. You can tell that he has so much fun with it, and I love Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor, so I always enjoy seeing him in this movie. And they set it up in a really great way with him being this almost mentor figure to Peter, being really nice and giving this great advice throughout the film, when really he's the villain all along and he's just trying to kind of butter Peter up to get the Edith glasses for his own personal benefit. And on the same topic of Mysterio, the visual effects in this movie are fantastic. I love the visual effects with all of Mysterio's illusions throughout the movie. It all looks really, really good. So yeah, I love Mysterio in this movie, and I think, again, with handling Peter's kind of trauma, his PTSD from Tony's death, Mysterio is able to use that against Peter. And I think that's almost why it makes him such a good villain, because he's able to make Peter unsure of what's real and what's not, and he uses Peter's weaknesses against him in very dark ways, and I think that makes him an extremely compelling villain. When it comes to negatives, I don't really have that many. I mean, the thing with me not really enjoying Peter in Europe instead of New York, I don't really think that's a negative, because I think it works for this movie. It's just a personal preference that I prefer him in New York. Um, I don't love Peter's side characters in any of these movies, and especially when you look at what they're like in the comics, the characters in these movies don't fit at all what they should be. Um, but that's really it. I really don't have a lot of negative to say about this movie. So, so those are my thoughts on Spider-Man Far From Home. What do you think of this movie? Let me know down in the comments. Did you see it in theaters? And until my next video, like this one, subscribe to my channel, and keep watching movies.